1. Hello everyone, welcome back to another weekly market recap from Chart Engineers, and today we're just going to go over the week commencing the 24th of May 2021 until the 28th of May 2021. So firstly, we'll just start on the daily time frame, and we can see that the start of the week is over here, so the 24th. And on the daily time frame, we can see that price is just very bullish right now. So we've got a bullish order flow because price is just making high highs, higher lows. So here's a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Just keeps going, and we're also reacting from this daily breaker zone. So here we've got the daily raid, and then we've got the breaker zone over here. So I had this marked up, and this told me that price is still bullish. There's no reason to start switching my bias yet. So coming into the week, I knew that we were still bullish. And yeah, we also had this FVG over here, but I didn't pay much attention to it because of how bullish price is. And we've also created this daily low over here. That's a daily low. So then I went on to the H4 time frame, and here's the Monday the 24th. And yeah, I didn't really take any trades on this day because H4 wasn't really showing anything either. But as we seen on the daily, we're still bullish. Then I went down to the H1, and we had no raids. We had no liquidity raids to the bottom side except over here, which was during London. And since last week, I've only been trading the London session, as my target is just 3 to 5 hours per week, and London will give you that most weeks. So also on this day, there was not a lot of M5 liquidity raids, as we can see over here. Got no liquidity raids on the M5, but I know a few people in the group were trading M1 on this day, and M1 gave a few setups, so we'll just go over those. So I'll just put on the indicator for the lows. And yeah, we see that there's a lot of liquidity raid on the M1, but we're just looking for longs, so could either use the breaker zone or the raid candle. I'll just mark out the breaker zone. So we got one setup over here to see if it hits TP. So you could have entered over here exactly when London opens. I do minimum 2 pips for my stop loss, and then 2 hours break even. So yeah, this would have been a break even trade. Then we had another setup over here. Could have used the breaker zone or the raid candle. So yeah, the raid candle hit TP basically straight away as soon as you get tagged. Starts to fly. And then we've also got the breaker zone, which eventually hits TP as well. So 2.7, I'll just extend it a bit. And then you have your 3R over here. So if you took this raid candle, you would have hit your TP already, and then you could have entered this trade as well. So here, another raid candle entry, would have got tagged in and price just flew off. And then your breaker zone entry also would have hit TP, I think. So here's your entry. 4 pips. Yeah, you wouldn't have hit TP on this one. It would have been a break-even trade. But if you use the raid candle, you would have got TP again. So that's 1, 2, 3 trades hitting TP using the raid candle instead of the breaker zone, which I usually do on M1 trades because it's normally a quicker TP. You don't need as many pips in movement, so you'll hit your TP a lot quicker. But on this day, like I said, there was not many trades on the M5, so I was flat on Monday. And then London closed, and then I was done for this day. Well, there was an M5 raid over here in New York. We'll just see if we actually get a trade. So M5 raid, go down to your 1 minute time frame. So here's your breaking structure, your MSB, and then here's your breaker zone, and your price broke above, and we failed to get the RTO, so no trade there. So yeah, Monday was just a flat day on M5, unless you traded M1, then you would have got a few TPs, but on M5 it was a pretty flat day. So then I was done after London Open. Then on the Tuesday before London Open, just go back on charts on the H4, and yeah, this was a bit of a weird one. We had a H4 raid over here. So because we had that H4 raid before London Open, it was essentially bearish. We then had this H1 raid also over here. So this gave me a few confluences that price is bearish, and we also had this H1 fair value gap. So because of all those confluences, I'm like, yeah, price is gonna continue to go lower to at least take this low or come into this H1 order block before going back up. So we actually had a setup on the M5. Yeah, so here's a H1 raid, and then we had a M5 raid over here. So M5 raid, go down to your 1 minute time frame to mark out your market structure break and your breaker zone. So your market structure break would be this one or this one. Even though it doesn't have the fractal low here, it's still a, it don't have the fractal low indicator here, but it's still a fractal low because these three are equal highs, and the one over here and one over here are higher than 3 lows. That's still your market structure break. So London Open starts here, and price went through the breaker zone. So my week started off with -1, but I know a few of you in Chart Engineers are longed it this day, and I'll just show you why they longed it. So like I said before, we had this H1 fair value gap, and we had a raid into it. So the M5 raid into the fair value gap, so this low, we raided it inside the FVG. So M5 raid. So M5 raid over here. Mark out your breaker zone. And your market structure break over here. That's your market structure break, price broke above, get tagged in, and then price just flies off to TP. So then, even though we had this H4 raid and H1 raid, price still continued to go higher, and once we broke above on the M5 and M1, I knew that price is just going to continue to go up. So the H4 and H1 raid was invalidated for me. So then I was just scouting for any long opportunities, and I had this M1 raid over here, and you see that price flew off before the RTO. So essentially I deleted my limit once price got to around here, but then I noticed something, so I'll just mark out the raid candle, which was my entry. And I also noticed we have this inefficiency over here. So what that is just fair value gap, because price just flew away from it, so it's inefficient. So just fair value gap. And we also noticed that price was doing the AMD pattern, so this accumulation, manipulated downside to tag us in, manipulated all the way here. So if we had our stops here, we would have probably got taken out, but like I always do, I add a bit to my SL. And then we had the distribution to the top side. So accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Just get rid of this. So my entry was over here, and we see that price, the stop loss is 3.1 pips, so I just round it up to the nearest 0.5, and my TP is 3.2, and we see that price just flew up from here. So that's my TP for this day. So I had 1 loss, 1 win. So for the week I'm on +2 so far, and then I also took more longs into, well, in this area. So here's the M1 setup, but inside the M1 setup we had an M5 raid. So M5 raid, I'll go back to the M1 to mark out my breaker zone or raid candle. And here's your raid candle and your market structure break. So a market structure break, here's your raid candle, RTO into it. So 4.5 pips. And this one didn't hit TP, so I always do 3.2 to include commission. So this one was a break-even trade, and last week a lot of trades were hitting 2R and then reversing, and that's because price was ranging a lot, so we see here. So it's good to notice when price is ranging, you might just want to take profit at 2R instead of 3R, because all those 2Rs will add up. But it is what it is. So I was done trading when London closed, so I didn't trade any New York session, but we'll just look at price. So we see that price starts to go lower, but we'll just see on the higher time frame if anything hinted that it wanted to go lower. So here is Tuesday, and we see that we have this H1 raid, and we have this fair value gap over here. So when price flew up in London, we left this fair value gap, and we also had a H1 raid to the top side. So this gives us confidence that price wants to go lower, and because we had this H1 raid, we also had a H1 MSB, and what that tells us is that price may want to continue to go lower. So here's your MSB, bearish market structure break, and what that leaves us with is a breaker zone or a raid candle. So once we get this raid and fair value gap here, we can target shorts, and we have this order block over here as well. So if there was any shorts over here, my target would be this order block, because this is where the FVG will get fully filled, and because this order block we should expect a reaction from it at least, and we see that price does react from it. So this is a pretty clean PA on the H1 time frame. So let's just see if there's any short setups on the Tuesday. We have this M5 raid over here. No raid here, no raid here. Yeah, so this is the only M5 raid to the downside, to the top side. So M5 raid, go back to your M1. And then here you've got your breaker zone. So breaker zone entry is there, or if you want to use the raid candle, it's up to you. Then you've got your market structure break to the downside, and then you see price tags you in, hits TP, and we get the fill on the FVG and the H1 order block. So if you did trade that was a clean trade, so you could have taken that trade, this trade and this trade on M5 and this trade. That's 2 wins, 1 loss and 1 break even. And then if you took this M1 trade as well, that's 1, 2, 3 wins that were possible on this day. But I only ended up taking this win, this break even and this loss, so 2 off for me. So then end of the day, you just wanna glance over your daily time frame, your H4 time frame, and we see that we have a daily swing low, and we've also created a daily high. So because of this daily swing low, I'm still bullish on this day, on Wednesday, still bullish. And then I'll just clean up this a bit. So now we're here. I seen that price create this FVG below, and we still had that FVG over here on the daily time frame. And on the H1, we are also in this H1 breaker zone, but in the morning I was still bullish, and I marked out this FVG over here. So then go to your M5 time frame, and now we're over here. and we had a M5 raid, M5 MSB over here during Asia, which was untested. And then during London we also had another M5 raid over here, and I was expecting price to go higher because of the daily swing low, so I was technically bullish. So we have 2 raids on the M5. I also did a breakdown on this in my breakdown channel. And these raids also occurred at the 50% mark of the fair value gap, so 50% is over here. So that tells me this FVG is filled, so I'll just get rid of it. And this gives me good confidence that the price wants to go higher. So here I used this candle as my raid candle, and you see that price came into it over here. So this is my first trade, and as I said before, a lot of the trades this week were just hitting 2R and then reversing. So 2.4, so I just rounded up to 2.5, and you see that price did not hit 3.2R. So I did actually do 2.2 because 3R was just getting swerved on other trades as well. So the first trade from Asia was a +2. So now I'm on +4 for the week. And then we had another setup during London. And I also used the raid candle. So this is a raid candle over here. And I think this was a 2-pip stop. Yeah, 2-pip stop. And this one actually hit 3.2. So on this I had 2 and then a +3, so +5R. So for the week I am on +7R. Yeah, +7 for the week so far. And then yeah, those 2 trades were during London, so I was basically done for the day now because I was happy with the 2 wins. I can take a break for the rest of the day, but price we see continues to go lower, and that is because we are in the H1 breaker zone. So your MSB was over here. So your MSB was over here, and this is your H1 raid candle, and price wanted to go lower to fill the H4 fair value gap. So if you are bearish on this day, you are correct. We'll just mark out any bearish trades, any shorts on the M5. So no raid over here, no raid over here, no raid. Got raid over here, but this is outside of session times. I wouldn't have used that, so I'm not really counting it. Then back at New York, you have a raid over here, and that's most likely a stop out. Yeah, so this would have been a loss over here, because your MSB would have been here or wherever on the M1, and price came back. You would have got stopped out, but let's just see. Yeah, so your structure break would have been these lows. Breaker zone would have been this level, breaker zone, or your raid candle would have been this. And you see either way you get stopped out. That's a -1. Then you can continue to just look for shorts. So no raid, yeah, no raid for the rest of the day. So just London gave those 2 wins. So then we'll move on to the Thursday. Just check your daily. So that was a Tuesday high. This was a Wednesday, and now this is a Thursday. And we see that price has created a daily swing high over here. And what that tells us is that price may want to go lower. Yeah, so price may want to go lower to at least these lows. And maybe to this fair value gap. So we're on this day, Thursday. And Thursday was a bit of a weird day because we were just arranging. So PA was pretty poor. But yeah, we're just arranging, but I'm still bearish. Wanted this fair value gap to get filled. And we see that we eventually fill it. So fair value gap filled, go to your H1. So LO starts here, London Open starts here. You can refine it. Yeah, we see that during London we actually filled this. So once this gets filled, I'm very bearish. I would be looking for shorts. On this day, I don't think I took any trades either. Nothing really set up, and I already hit my weekly target, so I'm just waiting for something clean. So I'm not trying to take any shorts over here. So there was a raid over here, but I don't think it MSB'd anyway. But I just wanted this fair value gap to get filled. We had this liquidity raid over here, and we had another one during New York over here. Then none over here, none over here. Yeah, so on this day just had these 2 liquidity raids. If you're bearish, you would have only been looking at these 2. So yeah, this one, here's your raid candle over here at 9:28. So anytime after 9:35 you can enter. So this one you would have had to be quick. So let me see if you even get tagged in. So here's your breaker zone. And here's your market structure break. So bearish structure break. So you break structure at 9:34, and your entry will literally 1 minute later. So your entry would have been this high over here. So very subtle, but yeah, you just would have had to be quick with it. And you see that price continues to go lower. So 5.9, gonna just round it up to 6. Then your 3.2 or TP. So yeah, this had a lot of confluences as H4 and H1 fair value gap got filled. There was the M5 raid, M1 MSB, and we also had that daily swing high, which just tells us that price is bearish. So yeah, this was a pretty clean trade over here. Then again we had a M5 raid over here. We had one over here as well, but outside of our session times. So this was the other one, and I know a few of us were just waiting for the raid candle instead of the full breaker zone. So here's the raid candle. Get swerved on it. If you use the full breaker zone, it was a bit big, it would have been 9 pips, and yeah, it was a bit, breaker zone was a bit big, so don't think a lot of us would have taken that. But if you did take it and you held until the next day, let's see if you can hit TP. Yeah, you would have hit TP over here. So your entry would have been during New York, and you would have had to hold the trade till the next day. But eventually you would have hit your TP anyway, so it's 3R regardless of how many pips. So if you took that, then well done. But personally, my maximum breaker zone size would be 8 pips, and this was 9, so I tried to use a raid candle and I got swerved on it. So that's Thursday done. So then we have the end of the week, which is usually one of the best days. So here it's Thursday finished, so Friday starts here. I'm still aiming for this daily low. Go down to your 4 hour, and yeah, we see that price actually does take that daily low. I was thinking it would come into this daily fair value gap, but it didn't. Go down to your H1, and similarly to this H1 breaker zone, we have another breaker zone on the H1 as well. So a liquidity raid over here, your market structure break over here, and your breaker zone over here. So look, identical price action here to here. So I knew that price was gonna go into this area, and then we will look for shorts to take the daily low and to fill the fair value gap. So London Open, I was just waiting for price to come back into this area. So yeah, you're just waiting for price to come into this area, and then we finally get the M5 raid near the end of London. So the M5 raid happened at 9:40. Then you want to go to your 1 minute time frame and just look for a break zone, market structure break. So over here you have the M5 raid, your breaker zone over here, and your market structure break over here. And we see we luckily hit, but we got into the trade 1 minute before I'm off charts. And yeah, this trade was pretty clean. So 4.2, just round it up to 4.5. And this one, my TP was 2.2R because there was a lot of 2R trade this week, but TP at the daily low would have been 7.9, and your 3.2 would have been hit as well. But yeah, 2.2 is enough because of all the swerves. You see that price hit TP and taken the daily low. So once price has taken the daily low, even though the daily is not closed yet, you have to be wary of it, because we see that once price goes below the low, it just shoots back up. So then once we took the daily low, I'll just sit on my hands, didn't trade New York, and I don't think there was any setups anyway to take longs. So yeah, no long setups on the M5. So that's Friday done. So overall, we'll just go over the wins or losses this week. Monday, no M5 trades. I didn't take anything on the M1. Tuesday, I took a loss over here. There was a win over here I didn't take. There was an M1 win over here. And then an M5 break even trade. Wednesday, we had a win over here. And then no, this is Monday, Tuesday. Then Wednesday we had 2 wins over here, 2R and then 3R, both M5 raids. We had a loss over here. And then Thursday we had a win over here. And then Friday we had a win over here. So this week just had to be a bit patient and adapt to the 2R TPs, but overall it was a good week. And if you've got any questions regarding any of the setups I've spoken about today, then just let me know on Discord and I'll be more than happy to help. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you've got any questions then just let me know on private message or in the Discord server.